All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a tool that's trying to solve one of the biggest headaches with generative AI, and that is the total lack of control. We're going to look at how Figma Weave is pushing way beyond just simple prompts to let pros build these really powerful, reusable creative systems.
Okay, so let's start with this central question, right? Is generative AI just some kind of magic button you press for a cool, one-off picture, or can it actually be a real professional tool? I mean, yeah, AI can whip up these incredible images from nothing, but for anyone who's actually trying to do professional work, that magic usually comes with a super frustrating and honestly often a deal-breaking lack of control.
In this quote, man, it just perfectly nails the chaos so many creatives are dealing with. You know the drill, right? You're jumping from a text prompt app over to a photo editor, then to an upscaler, and you've got like a million browser tabs open, all just to get one single asset to look right. It's a nightmare.
But what if we just completely change how we think about this? That's the core idea behind Figma Weave. It's built on this concept they call artistic intelligence, and the whole belief here is that AI shouldn't replace human craft, it should be the substrate for it, the raw material. The first prompt you type in, that's not the end goal, it's just the very beginning. Okay, so how does this actually work in the real world? Well, it all starts by shifting our focus. Instead of just trying to make one single, perfect image, the goal is to build an entire creative workflow that you can use over and over again. So look at this. On the left, you've got the old way of doing things. It's messy, it's manual, it's a one-and-done kind of deal. But on the right, that's the Weavy way. It's a unified, systematic approach. Think of it less like painting a picture and more like building a reusable machine. Now, the heart of this whole thing is something called a node-based canvas. And I know that might sound a little complicated, but it's not. It's really just like creating a visual flowchart or maybe even a recipe for your design. The key is that every single ingredient and every step you take is laid out right there in front of you. What this does is create this amazing visual pipeline. Every single action is its own little connected block. So you can generate an image, then you connect that to a background remover, and then you feed that into a color grader. It creates this super logical, non-destructive workflow from the very beginning to the very end. And this is where the professional advantage really shines. Just imagine this. A client comes back and says, hey, can we change the initial character design? In a normal workflow, that's a disaster. But here, you just change that very first node, and bam, every single asset downstream updates automatically. We're talking about revisions that used to take hours, now taking literally seconds. Okay, moving on. This whole process-driven thing isn't just a cool trick for individual designers. No way. It actually unlocks some seriously game-changing stuff for how creative teams can collaborate. So, for example, you could have an expert designer, right? They can go in and build this really intricate, powerful workflow that has all the company's brand guidelines, the specific color palettes, all that creative logic just baked right into the system. And then, here's the brilliant part. They can publish that super complex system as a simple little app. So now the social media manager, who maybe isn't a designer at all, can just open it up, type in a new headline, hit generate, and they know for a fact that the output is going to be perfectly on brand every single time. And that's the real goal here, It's about automating all those repetitive, manual tasks. It frees up your senior creatives from just being production monkeys resizing banners all day. It lets them get back to focusing on what they're actually great at. High-level craftsmanship, and real strategic thinking. But what if you need even deeper, more granular control? Well, Weave can also integrate with these really advanced reasoning engines. The idea is called reasoning-guided synthesis. And what that means is the AI actually simulates real-world logic, things like cause and effect, physics, how things relate in space, before it even draws a single pixel. And this is where you see a massive leap in what's possible. Your standard AI models, they really struggle with stuff like rendering text correctly or understanding 3D space. But a reasoning-guided engine, it can render text perfectly and has this much, much deeper understanding of how an object should actually look from different angles. It's a huge deal. All right, let's talk about the business side of things. This kind of innovation, well, it did not go unnoticed. Weavy's really unique approach to these AI-native design workflows, it caught the eye of the biggest player in the game pretty quickly. So in late 2025, Figma made its biggest bet ever. They acquired Weavy, and this landmark deal worth over $200 million. And look, this wasn't just them buying a cool new feature. This was a statement. It was a declaration about what they believe the future of design is going to be.
And this timeline just shows you the incredible speed of it all. We're talking about going from a startup founded in Tel Aviv to being a core part of the world's leading design platform in just over a year. It got rebranded, of course, to Figma Weave.
And Weave isn't just this standalone thing either. It doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's being deeply, deeply integrated with all of Figma's other AI tools. What that means is you get this totally seamless pipeline. You can generate a visual in Weave and then have it instantly pop up in an AI-generated prototype in Figma Make or a website built with Figma Sites. It all just works together. You know, this cloud-based approach also gives Weave a major edge over some of the really powerful open-source alternatives out there, like Comfy UI. Here's why. Weave runs on any machine that has a web browser. Meanwhile, a tool like Comfy UI, you need a super expensive, high-end GPU and a lot of technical know-how just to get it installed and keep it running.
And as you can see, this really highlights how different their target audiences are. I mean, they're completely different. Weave was built from the ground up for artists and designers. It's all about the user experience for creatives. That makes it so much more accessible for a design team compared to tools that are, let's be honest, really aimed at developers.
So, let's zoom out. What does all of this mean for the future of creative work? Well, everything seems to be pointing in one very clear direction. We're moving away from one-off creations and heading straight towards intelligent, repeatable systems.
Think about it. We're moving away from those static PDF-style guides and toward what you could almost call living design systems. Just imagine a system where the AI doesn't just give you the assets, it also automatically enforces all the brand rules and intelligently adapts every single component for any device you can think of.
And really, this is the key takeaway from all of this. In this new creative economy, winning with AI isn't going to be about chasing after the flashiest new image generator every week. No, it's about having the discipline to build an intelligent, repeatable, and scalable pipeline for your studio.
And that leaves us with one final big question to think about. As these tools get more and more powerful, is our most valuable skill not what we create, but the systems we build to create it? Something to chew on. Thanks for watching.